This is the Moto G200 5G. This new mid-ranger from Motorola is definitely aimed at those looking for the best bang for your buck device. It's got a high-res camera, a flagship chipset, and a very smooth display. So if you're a value hunter, is this the phone for you? I'm Angie for GSM Arena, and this is our review of the Moto G200 5G. The Moto G200 doesn't look or feel cheap. Its rear panel and its frame are made of plastic, but the back looks and feels like glass, and the matte frame does a very decent impersonation of aluminum. On the back you'll find a ramp-like island housing 3 cameras, and a matte stellar blue coloring, which is a bit of a smudge magnet. If you're not too keen on those, you might want to go with the glacier green version of the phone, which will make them less visible. There's a power button and a fingerprint scanner combo on the right-hand side of the phone, and it's always on and very fast. If you turn on the Power Touch option in the Moto app, you can even double tap it and get a shortcut menu, where you can arrange apps, tools, and contacts. The phone is rather narrow and has curved edges, which combined with the texture of the back makes it feel very comfortable and secure in the hand. The only caveat is that it's not a light phone at 200 grams. The G200 has water-repellent coating, but it's only good for IP52 dust and water protection. The screen is protected by flat tempered glass. On the front you'll see a punch hole in the LCD panel, but it's nice to note that there are no traces of uneven backlighting. The 6.8-inch IPS LCD itself has a Full HD resolution and a 144Hz refresh rate. It's a larger and faster panel than the one on the Moto G100. You can either choose to lock the refresh rate at 144Hz, go for the standard 60Hz, or use the auto mode option, which balances power and smoothness, but only goes up to 120Hz. Overall, the auto mode worked well, and with it on, most games ran at 120Hz. The panel got 558 nits of max brightness, and it had a great contrast ratio, so it should be comfortable to use outdoors. The G200 has 2 color modes, saturated and natural. Both have alright accuracy, but the saturated mode shifts more towards blue, while the natural mode shifts more towards red. The phone has HDR10 support for high dynamic range streams on YouTube and Amazon Prime, and it sports Widevine L1 DRM support. The G200 only has a single bottom-firing speaker and achieved a good loudness score in our tests. The audio quality is average, and while voices and mid sound good, bass and high notes are lacking. The lack of stereo speakers, though, is our biggest issue with its output. Motorola has been making a big deal out of the high-end wireless audio experience you can get with this phone, so if you have a good pair of headphones, you might want to try it out. The large 5000 mAh battery got the phone a good 102 hours of endurance in our battery life tests. It fared decently as far as charging is concerned too. The 33-watt turbocharger got the G200 from 0 to 52% in 30 minutes, and a full charge required an hour and 14 minutes. The Moto G200 has Android 11. The phone has one major Android version update guaranteed, so you'll certainly get Android 12. It's disappointing that Motorola is unlikely to update this phone to Android 13, considering the fact that it was launched after Android 12 was announced. If you're a fan of Android as Google intended, well, Motorola phones are definitely phones you should consider. Most of the G200's customizations are limited to the Moto app. You can choose icon shapes, quick toggles, and accent colors, and you can turn on quick launch gestures, like the traditional Moto Karate Chop for the flashlight or twist to launch the camera app. There are a couple of display-related extras, like Peak Display, which lights up when it detects motion, and Attentive Display, which keeps the phone from turning off when you're looking at it. What's a little newer is Ready for Platform, which enables you to put the phone in the heart of a big screen setup. It runs within a window on your desktop and can be useful for multitasking between devices. You can even use the phone for big screen video calls, and use the camera to capture yourself and the external screen to see other participants. The Moto G200 has the flagship Snapdragon 888 Plus 5G chipset and 8 gigs of RAM. Unsurprisingly, gaming is a breeze, and it offers flagship performance across the board. In fact, the phone doesn't even get hot during stress tests, and it kept 70% of its max performance at the end of an hour-long torture test. The phone has a 108-megapixel primary camera that takes 12-megapixel bin photos, a 13-megapixel ultra-wide shooter, and a 2-megapixel depth sensor. During the day, shots taken in the auto mode with the main camera have a lot of detail and balanced processing. Foliage and even intricate objects look good, and we didn't see much noise, if any. The contrast is high and photos look lively, even if the dynamic range is only average. The white balance could be better, with images coming out with a red tint on occasion. If you choose to capture shots in the high-res mode, you'll find white balance and dynamic range to be better. You get some extra detail, but also more noise, and the images do look a little bit like oil paintings when zoomed to pixel level. The ultra-wide shots are better than what we usually see from phones in this price range. They have a decent level of detail, and sharpness is balanced. Dynamic range is okay, contrast is low, and the reddish tint is still present, but less noticeable. Overall, we like them. The ultra-wide camera has autofocus, and the macro vision mode enables for extreme close-ups. Photos are okay and offer enough detail that you can tell that they've been upscaled and aren't all that sharp. Contrast and colors are great though, and noise is low. You can also take macro shots without the mode switched on, and these have more detail and sharpness because there's no upscaling going on. Portraits were great. They have a ton of detail and excellent sharpness. Colors are accurate and contrast is superb. Subject separation is adequate and the faux bokeh looks natural. Low-light shots taken with the main camera look solid, and there's some AI low-light enhancement turned on by default. Detail is okay, while colors and saturation are well preserved. Highlights are rare, and overall they are certainly great for the phone's class. Night vision brightens the photos a bit further, and also improves the dynamic range. You might also see more detail in the shadows. Low-light shots with the ultra-wide are good, which is frankly a little surprising. Dynamic range was very good, contrast was okay, and they had good colors and saturation. There's no night vision here, but even without it, the ultra-wide camera did a solid job. The only potential issue is that occasionally the focus fails to properly lock, and you might need to tap to focus. The 16-megapixel camera on the front captures 4-megapixel selfies that are good but not impressive. Colors are accurate, detail and noise are low, and sharpness isn't overboard. With the main camera, the G200 can capture 8K videos at 24 FPS, 4K videos at up to 30 FPS, and Full HD videos. 8K videos are steady and have great detail and adequate dynamic range. Still, it's not perfect footage, and you can spot compression artifacts. On the other hand, 4K videos with the main camera are excellent for this class. There's a ton of detail, accurate colors, low noise, and commendable dynamic range. Sharpness is excellent and foliage looks natural. Optional EIS is available for 4K videos too. 4K videos with the main camera and low light are okay, and there's a lot of detail and not too much noise. They have good exposure, and overall, colors are well preserved. The Full HD videos with the ultra-wide had enough detail, but colors are a bit desaturated and dynamic range is average. It's a bit of a miss that this camera wasn't given a 4K option. The Moto G200 is a phone with some of the best value on the market. Its display is one of the smoothest in the industry, it has a flagship chipset, and it has an excellent camera. Sure, the lack of stereo speakers and the plastic build do count against it, but if you're looking for an excellent mid-ranger with fantastic value, then we definitely recommend this one. Thank you for watching everyone, stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time.